Back again with my MPC Live 3. I've had this thing for a week now, and I just wanted to delve a little bit deeper into what I've learned 1 week with my MPC Live 3, whether it's something that you would want to purchase, some things that I've been struggling with about it, some things that I wish were better, some things that I absolutely love about it, and just talk about the process, So if you appreciate what I'm doing, it can be kind of difficult to make these videos consistently, so like and subscribe to show support. Click the link below if you want to do a class with me on improving your MPC Live 3 skills. So yeah, I've had this thing for a week. I'm out here in this garden by where I live. It's golden hour, so I thought I would just, try to make a video really quick and make a song really quick and just show you what I've learned. First, I would just say, other producers out there, I haven't seen anybody making MPC Live 3 videos outside. It makes sense because this thing's relatively expensive. I have had people comment about how they would steal my MPC Live 3 from me. And, I'm not really scared of that. I have my MPC Live 2 outside, and I don't want to live in fear. And I also love that this thing is just so mobile. It's one of my favorite things about it. It has a lithium-ion battery. I would say a week after using it, it's what it says. It has about a 3-hour battery life. This year I've biked up with my MPC Live 2. I biked up to Vancouver, Canada. I biked down to Portland. And if I was honest, it would be nicer if the battery life was a little bit longer. But 3 hours is pretty good. And especially if I'm on a long journey like that, it's not like I'm making 3 hours of music continuously. I'm generally biking all day, and then I can make 20 minutes of music if I can. But this thing's a little bit bigger. I carry it to and from work. So in the context of what I'm doing, living my life, this thing has more than enough of battery life. And I would say generally the way that I make music, last week I was making a video a day all week. And this thing lasted me a good 3 days of that. And that made sense because with the videos, I was using it for about an hour a day, and I didn't plug it in once. I plugged it into full charge, and I just wanted to see how far we could get. So that was pretty cool. The other great thing about it is that it has this really great speaker in it. I would say a weekend, the MPC Live 2, it also had a speaker in it. And I would say sometimes I would do shows with my MPC Live 2. I did a show, part of Mod Bang, down at 4B's, and I sampled birds for it, and that was really fun. But I noticed particularly the melodies, sometimes the melodies just were a little bit out of balance. And looking at the forums and people talk about it, I do feel like there is more fidelity and everything seems more balanced. I'll say another thing that's great too, with the speaker, I just wanted to show for this video, I have my DJI mic, and I normally plug the 2 outs and go straight into my interface that goes in the little DJI interface that goes straight into the microphone, directly into the iPhone. But I thought to show the quality of the microphone, I would just put the microphone here and just make a video and see how it sounds. And it's one less thing for me to carry. So I would say 1 weekend with the MPC Live 3, I'm really grateful that it's less things to carry. I love that there's a field recorder in here. You do have to always have headphones because you can't use the field recorder without headphones. But that being said, I should always bring headphones because if I'm going on the ferry or wherever I'm going, it generally makes sense to have headphones, So I'd say another thing that I've learned about it, a thing that I appreciate that I haven't actually used because the field recorder is this way, I haven't actually plugged my nice CS1000 in here and recorded into these nice fan powered ends. But I'm also looking to for headphones that have a microphone in them. I thought that would be cool, and that'd be particularly good for performing live music and for live looping. One thing that I'll say too, I really appreciate that it has this USB-C that goes directly in and out of my iPhone. And I would say that that's been really cool, testing that out. And another really cool thing is being able to control MIDI via the USB-C. Now, one thing that I've struggled with a week in, and I would like to hear other people's thoughts. You know, I have this wire right here that's USB-C to Lightning, because I actually have a system of 3 of my old iPhones that I didn't get rid of, particularly for making videos. But the unfortunate thing is when I plug this in, it doesn't recognize it in the USB-C, so I can't do that out that way, and that's pretty frustrating to me. And I haven't tried it with my computer either, because my computer is older, and I could do the USB-C to the USB traditional converter, which I have. I'm gonna try that when I get home, but it's been frustrating that my converters haven't worked. Also, I don't know, there is a specific cable that came with the device, so I was gonna try to USB-C to USB-C and see if that works with the phone. And that's been a little bit frustrating, because it's cool to have that, but it would be really cool if the traditional USB to USB-C would work, or traditional USB-C to Lightning would work with that way. It would just simplify things and allow me to incorporate things more. I know you can technically do the traditional USB out into an interface solution, but it's, you know, again, it's just another thing to carry around. And this thing is a little bit heavier, but I'll take a little bit heavier if it's a professional device that has all of these things that I need and I love in it. I would say 1 week in too, so I have this kit loaded up, and it's got the MPC-E on it. And I'm about to change the camera angle. Oh, one other thing that I was gonna say before I move on. One thing that's been really frustrating to me too is about whenever I do the USB-C, which goes directly to my iPhone, it would also be nice to be able to plug this in, because I kind of use my nice newer iPhone that has the USB-C to film the videos, and use my older iPhones to have the music stuff going on. But the other thing that's frustrating is that, again, it's nicer when I can just have less things. You know, you're out running around, you just want less things, you just want your device and you just want to go. It would be cool if I didn't have to bring this thing with this nice mic setup. It's small enough, I should want it, but you never know why you might forget things. I'm a little bit frustrated because the USB out, when it runs into my phone, I don't get sound. Now, there might be a way that I could get around that, but that's just another thing that I need to get. So it would be really cool if MPC would have that functionality with the USB out, if it could also run out of like a main out or like a Q out, so I could listen on headphones, because that would really simplify. I might be able to shoot whole videos with just the USB right into the iPhone and use the microphone from this device. That would be, before we kind of dive in, talk about my experience a week in, I would say, you know, whenever you're using this device, there's a lot of things I got confused about, particularly these XY pads, and I'd say often I just have to sleep on it, you know. And the first thing that I'm gonna say is that I definitely challenge people to make beats outside. I think it's cool to do it. I think it's one of my favorite things about the MPC Live. It has the lithium-ion battery, you can go outside, but one thing that I've been frustrated by is that, look, right now it's golden hour, and we're also at the end of golden hour. It's just gonna keep getting darker, but I'm a little frustrated because even now, the screen is pretty difficult to see, and it's pretty reflective, and especially when it's in the middle of the day, it's really hard. I will show you, you can change the, you know, there are different modes for it, so let's go here to preferences, and if you go down to hardware, you do have the brightness that you can control with battery brightness factor, which, you know, that's cool, but, oh yeah, so you could turn the brightness all the way up to brightest. Let's take a look at the screen and see how that looks. Okay, I think that probably actually looks better at this time of day. Let's go to dimmest. Yeah, okay, so while we're shooting this video here, let's go to brightest. Yeah, okay, so that looks better for this time of day, but one thing that I've really dealt with is, you know, I shot a video with the iPhone doing the USB-C MIDI in, and it looked really great with the MIDI in, but the iPhone looked great, but this was, you know, it's just trees, which is really frustrating. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post a short I'll just make a short about that USB audio in and the USB MIDI and make it as short as possible for you all, so stay tuned for that. Just also thinking about myself as an MPC user, what would be really useful for me. You know, you don't always want to watch, some people, a lot of the comments are really great and you'll say, hey, this is really raw and real and unrehearsed, and you really appreciate that. But I can also understand that people, you know, would want something more polished or just really straight to the point of like, hey, I have this need, I don't want to watch this dude's 30-minute video about it. Okay, so the first thing that I'll say a week in is that the biggest thing that this was sold on are these new pads with these XY axes, which is really great, but I knew that was actually probably my least favorite thing about this thing and wasn't actually why I purchased it. The reason why I purchased it and sold my MPC X and sold a bunch of my gear is because it actually has the preamps and it has the XLR inputs, because that's the only reason why I even bought the MPC X. But the fact that this is mobile, it really, really helps. Also with the screen brightness, the fact that there's so many more buttons, I knew that that was gonna be really fun to use. So this is probably the biggest selling point, and it's also just the biggest change. But from my experience of using a Cuneo, which about 10 years ago it was a startup that had XY axes and you would plug it in your computer, and I was using Ableton at the time. But what I realized is that, you know, it's cool when you have templates, but the XY axis, it's like having 16 chaos pads and it can get complicated really quickly. So out of everything, I've really had to sleep on it. I will talk about it, and I'll talk about some goals really quick. So this is what came on it, and you notice the different corners, you get different effects. But that's a little bit frustrating because that's only one kit, and all these other kits and the sounds, the factory expansions are like, wait, why are there no more MPCE? And you could create things out of it, but you don't even know how. So what you had to do, and it's a little bit complicated of a practice. I think it'd be really cool to do a really short about this too. They actually have an MPCE expansion, and I hope that Akai really continues this process, because I will say that Akai is actually really good at setting things up, and I love the more technical side of music, but I actually just like making beats every day. I got a busy life. So we go into this expansions and you have all these different things, and that's cool because you can kind of get your hands on the experience. We go here, we have 3 different types of sub basses. So you can warble it and do all that. But let's go back. You also have these classic drum machines, which is cool. This one's cool because it's like, it's all those Roland drum machines. It's like 707, 808, 909, 120. But they're on each of the 4 corners. Which, wow, that's really awesome. Because that's one thing about I like about the Ableton Push or the Launchpad, is that once you put samples on 16 pads, it really opens up what you can do. But that's different. That's not like the XY axis. So let's go in, and then we can kind of reverse engineer. So we just press edit here, and you notice that it has right here in the sample editor, which, first things first, this thing is a sample powerhouse, and by adding these pads, Akai has just made an even more amazing sampler. So you notice it has layer play, crossfade. We could go here. Yeah, it's got A, B, C, yeah, 1, 2, 3. But let's go back over here. So when you click on effects, that's confusing because you're like, oh, okay, effects. When in doubt with the MPC when learning anything, there's probably some page on the screen that you need to hold down. And you notice there's this little dot in the corner, so let's hold down. Boom. So now what we have is the articulations page, which we don't have for this, and then we have these different effects here and the way that they're affecting, you know? So then we go up here to the mod matrix, and this is really important because we have the crossfader kind of going between these things. So this is where, and you have 8 layers of this, so this is where the magic happens with regard to this stuff. And a week in, I actually don't really understand this fully, and even just to get to this point of understanding of this, it took me about a week. Yeah, so let's go back into the edit and let's go to the sounds. I really do wish that Akai would make it a lot easier to get a hold of these user expansions, and there will probably be an update where it just comes with it. But in light of it being hard, it's great for my videos. So let's go to, before we go in and let's do, they actually have empty template kits. Let's go to the exploratory features. And this is really cool. So we have this one called Blue Tree. And basically you have the chords, it's in C and the scale is played out. If we go up, there's not another one. It's just on this pad, but so you can get some really crazy things out of that, and that's cool that they have a preset. I'm really looking forward to Akai expanding upon that, because that'll make things really cool. Also, I think what I'll do is I'll take some time and I've designed some of my own. So let's go back into the edit and let's look at the effects. There are no articulations on there, but we go here to the mod matrix. You notice there's a lot more going on with these, and it goes 8 deep of the effects. So we see that things are going on here and we're controlling that, and you have the different effects. So I'm gonna go even deeper into this. I don't fully understand it yet. We have the pad X, the pad Y, the center distribution, all that. That's pretty crazy. So let's go in and let me just show you something that I did really quickly, because basically what I did is I love that there's the VST plugins on the MPC Live 3, and they have this on the 2 and the 1, but my favorite thing about that is that it turns this thing into a computer, and I actually love making music on the computer, so I think it's really cool that I have a little mobile computer. But there aren't the XY axes yet for playing those devices, and if there is the ability, I haven't found it. I haven't been able to find it online, so comment below if it's just something that I've missed. But what I can do is I can sample, and I'll actually just make a video. That's what I'll do tomorrow. I'll make a video about how I did this. But you can basically take in and sample those plugins and then create the effects on it. So let's just do that really quick, and then you save that as a kit. So let's go up to here to Files, go to Places. I have my SATA drive on here, and we have a lot of different things. So let's go to here. Okay, cool. So basically this is a bass that I put on here, and I'll talk it through it with y'all really quickly. So let's just listen to it. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I like that. And I can get a lot of really cool sounds. I basically have that it's an E minor and it's res bass MPCE. I named it. If you're doing anything like that, I could probably pretty easily, like, you know, within a week try to make 16 of these and then share it somehow on the internet with y'all. I think that would be really cool. Kind of fill a void while MPC hasn't fully created stuff for this. Let's make sure, okay, everything's still going here. Okay, so let's go in and let's go to edit. And if you notice, this is really simple. This can go 8 layers deep, but I've just done something really simple. It's just the cutoff and the resonance, and that's if we go into the sounds, user expansions. I basically just took the empty template kits, and there's one for no repeats, but there's one for X cutoff, resonant, filter, and I basically loaded these samples in on top of that. So that made this a lot easier. So that's just set up. But I also changed the amount, because if you have them fully up on the amount, it sounds pretty extreme. Let's go and let's do it. So it's going to be the second one. Okay, I got to go to the Q lick. Let's do it all the way up. Yeah, so it's here. It's like, you can't even hear it on the bottom. So let's go here and let's do back to where it was. Oh, weird. So there's something there, but it's not too much, which I like. Let's go back to edit. It'd be really easy for me to add on this and do more effects on here, but You got the target, you got filter 1, global, all these different amounts. So let's go back to the effects. Again, we have to click it again. I think these are just like MPCE effects on here. So I got to go more through that to learn about it. But here's what's important is that we have these articulations here. And if you go and see on the bottom left corner, I don't have anything. It's on the low pass, but on the second one, it gives you 4. But if you go in here, you just have all these different articulations and note repeats and different ways of doing it. So on the other ones, I have like rolls and stuff. Go back into edit. So that's ultra buzz, and it gives it this really weird sound. So ultra buzz is in the rolls. And then here, this is just a 32 roll. So let me show you how easy that is to change. Let's try pitched rolls, and let's do basic. Oh, you're the left, it does that weird thing. Okay, so that sounds cool to me. And as we just talk about, everything, let's go in and let's just make a beat really quick. So what I'm gonna do is it's on 2 bars, and let's do overdub. Okay, one thing that I've been having happening, I need to change it to where it's on record off. So have it on record. So I need to go in and delete what I just did. Okay, and let's do this. Let's go in the arrangement. We can pretty easily just go in here and fix the notes that we did, because okay, so that sounds pretty bad to me, so I'm gonna erase it. Let's just try this again. So that sounds a little bit better to me. And let's go in here and let's go back to the main, and let's go into drums, and let's do some drums with the, let's go in here and let's do sounds, MPC expansions. Let's do classic drum machines. These are the ones I've been having the most fun with. Let's try this one. So yeah, we get some different sounds, which is cool. Let's play around with this. So right here, this first thing on the step sequencer, a weekend. Wow, I've been having so much fun with the step sequencer. It's really enjoyable. What I'll go through really quickly before we step these in, there's all these different modes, and I'll say what I've learned about them. So this mode right here, the second one would be something more like you would want to do for a bass, where you would punch everything in, and every one you press here, it goes forward a step. And you could click on the next one that you want to do, and that's better for playing notes. This one's better, number 1 is better for drum machines. So yeah, let's go back to 1. Okay, yeah, that was where the playback was. So let's go to 3rd, and this is the step edit, and we can modify each of these individual steps. I don't have any steps in, but that's really cool for getting kind of like more P-lock things. Let's click on this one, and this is a note length. You can basically put the length, and you can also affect the automation of these different steps. You can go in really easily. You can also add a note, but let's undo that. So that's really cool. So the undo is right here. So this next one here, so this one's really cool because you can click on use independent track length, and that's really cool because sometimes you want to do drums that are just like 1 bar, just to get the drums in really simply. So let's try that. So we're gonna go back to 1, and let's just click these in, and let's see. I think we go to the next one. So this one, so let's go back to 5, and it says it's 2 bars, but we got independent track length, and let's just say 1 bar. So now when we try to go to next, okay, I guess It says editing bar 2. Let's go back here. For some reason, okay, independent track length, 1 bar, time control, clip arrangement. Okay, so let's see. So it's letting me go to the second one. And that's... Okay, so it actually is 1 bar, even though you're able to edit the second bar. Let's go in. So this is also a really cool way to create polyrhythms, but for me, it might be really easy that, you know, say I've built out an entire song and my song is like really, really long, but I just want to make drums really quickly. This is a really great way to, so basically this bass is like pretty short, but say if the bass was like 16 bars long, I could just go in here and so I have struggled with, it doesn't seem to do the different corners on each side, which is a little bit frustrating for me. Not the biggest fan of that, you know, but it is what it is. So let's just play this in to create the difference. So I actually forgot that it's only on the one bar. So I played it a lot, but it sounds good to me. But here's another cool thing about it is that it's really easy to take something that you've done and you can, this is a really cool thing about the Octatrack. When I would play something in the Octatrack with an external device, you can then affect it with the P-locks and the controls. So you can technically go back into this step editor. You know, you click on a step, you can change the probability of it. Let's go in, you know. And so that means that I could take this 1 bar, you know, you can change the velocity. You could put the modifiers on it. So you could change the tune of it, the filter. So that's really cool. So you could take 1 bar and then have all of this variety going on with the computer to create this more complex rhythm, which is awesome. You can also create polyrhythms that way. Let's go in and let's create a polyrhythm. Again, it's the 4th one. It's been taking me, oh, it's actually the 5th one. It's been taking me a second to figure all this stuff out. So let's go to 0, and it's only ticks now. Oh, weird. So let's bring that back up to... Yeah, so now we've created like a... So now that's sounding kind of jazzy and really weird. So let's go in here on the kit, and this is a really great button right here. If you're new to MPC, this is really great because within this pad you have the mixer, which is freaking awesome. But we can go into the effects, and let's click, we're on the kick, and let's click the Mother Ducker input. So we selected it. Oh, for some reason it's not letting me click it. Mother Ducker input. Okay, cool. Let's go back to this weird old bass. Oh, but it's not this one. We need to go on the full thing and go to effects because we want it to be on the whole drum kit. And boom. So now we have this really weird, strange polyrhythm and drums. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add another plugin. And this is just like a normal track and it'll be 2 bars. But let's go in here and let's double the length and make it 4 bars now. One thing I'll say, I'm going to try to wrap this up soon. I don't want to talk more than 30 minutes about it, but I did want to do more of a deep dive of my impressions a weekend of what I've actually learned about this thing. Fabric is really great. It comes with Key 31, but there's all these really cool VSTs on here. I have a trial of Cloud Supply. I want to get Analog Dreams for sure. My trial ran out of that. But here's what I'm going to say. Those native instruments, I think the computing power is tough. So on my MPC Live 2, they didn't really sound like, they sounded good, but they slowed everything down. But I've noticed whenever I'm running the native instrument devices on here, it's not slow at all. It's really fast. In fact, let's go in here. I have the Cloud Supply trial for one more day. It's kind of limited what's in there, but I really like the noises. Yeah, just going through. It's all really fast. And when we go to edit, we go to home, there's this weird thing, and you can change everything that way, which is really great. You can also click the sounds this way to physically see them. Yeah, so I've been having, let's go, oh, it's too high. So these sound really great and they work really fast. One thing I'll say, I'm frustrated that I can't play these with the XY axis in here. So my thoughts on why that is that, you know, each of these plug-in instruments is, I don't know if they're all made by Akai or if they're different teams, but there's probably less integration, whereas they have the MPCE on the sampler, but the MPC is known for the sampler. And I'm guessing that's a cohesive team. But when it comes to these actual plug-in instruments and the way they interact with these plugins, you know, you'll actually have to make some changes in the plugin. But I would think it would maybe be like within the key functionality here, you could have it to where you could change the effects, or just very well like within the effect. But I know with the MPC, it's a pretty deep dive within the sampler of the edit. So if they were gonna do it for this, it would maybe be in the same zone of like effects. See, when I click on it twice, it goes to different things. But yeah, there's aftertouch, so it might be perfect for that, you know, it's, but yeah, that's something that's frustrating about it, but I get it. It also might just be like, whenever I was saying with those native instruments, the computing power just might not quite be there yet. I know that it, you know, when it comes to the computing power, it might take time. So yeah, for now, you can basically take anything that you've done and you can sample it down really easily and then affect it really easily. I'm gonna do a video on that tomorrow because I think that's really cool. Now, I'll say a weekend, the touch strip is actually really useful. Right now, it has that effect on it, which actually sounds really good. So let's go to the touch strip, but you also have different things like the track level is actually really useful. And if you're on the drums, it's really useful, or even this bass that's a pad, it's really useful when you have the pad level because we can go in here and lower, and you can mix your drums out really simply, which is great. But for the synthesizer, I think the mod wheel is really useful. So turn that off. So that sounds kind of bad, but you know, you might be able to figure out. You could do the sustain, the expression. There's also a crossfader. Honestly, I haven't even messed with the crossfader, but that's probably my favorite functionality. I've had all these other things. You also have notes, which, let's go. That sounds pretty bad, but you might like that, and you might, you know, this beat I made is pretty weird. You might enjoy it, so yeah. So we get a little bit of a pitch change. So let's go ahead and record this in. You know what I realized that I screwed up? Erase. That bass is in E minor. I didn't even do this in E minor, so let's do pentatonic minor. It sounded good to me. That, you know, it says something about me. Yeah, we're making some really weird electro here, you know? But that's awesome, because you could go into the step sequencer and change the length of it on here, which is great. So I'm just going over the step sequencer. I think for this video, I'll do a very broad overview of the clip matrix. I'm just kind of going over my experience on a whole. I haven't delved very deep into the clip matrix. I think it's really cool. I think it's just gonna take more sleeping on it for my brain to learn it, but I'm really excited for using it for live shows. And I know having it turns this into something much more similar to the Octatrack. So yeah, we have here, this is the length of this sequence that we were just on. So yeah, let's make this even weirder. Yeah, so as time goes on, we basically are creating this polyrhythm. Let's see if it looks like it. Yeah, so that sounds really strange, but I like it. So let's go here. This would be the automation we could put on it. Right now it's locked. You have to unlock it, which makes sense. You don't want to make things sound weird. So this one right here, I'm not sure which one this is. This one here, I'm not sure which one it is. Oh, yeah, I think this is clips because, let's go here. Yeah, so I don't think I have any other clips, but this would be a really great way to just scroll through clips as you're creating. So this one here, I do believe is, so I think that this one is actually the clips. This one is the arrangement. This one right here, oh. So let's go back here because I actually don't, sorry everybody, I'm getting a little confused. I am a little bit confused. So we went back to the first one. For some reason there's like, we double click on the clip matrix. For some reason there's always like a second drum in there, and I don't really like that or know why it's that way, but it is what it is. This is part of me learning. So let's click on this one. So yeah, I think this first one was actually, let's try it again. Oh, it says unused. Let's click on the, so I guess there's only two. Okay, yeah, I'm confusing myself, to be honest. I'm a little bit confused when it comes to this specific thing. I think it has to do with whether you're doing the global clip arrangement versus the individual one. And I know there's one that actually changes the sequence. So let's see what, this one right here, let's click it. Okay, this one you can easily scroll between your instruments, which is great. Another great way to do that is just press down on this and you can click between your instruments too. That's great for live looping and affecting things. This one is for record. Right now I have multi-record on. It works for what I'm doing, but this is also a great thing for looping. This one right here, let's see. This is you can go in and you can basically do track mutes. And this is great because I used to always have to do this. You would press track mute and you would have to do this physically on the pads. So this is great for live shows, and I've just been having a lot of fun playing around with it more generally. So let's go in here, let's click on time control and say 1 bar, press close. Let's see if this actually, so this is another thing that I've noticed a weekend is that, let's go back to track mute. It doesn't seem to want to stay on, but whenever I press menu to exit out, let's try it. So in that way, it stays in to where you want to have that quantize coming in and out. So this one right here, I'm gonna be honest, I start to get pretty confused over here. My genuine goal, okay, pad mute unavailable. Okay, so this is for the pad mute. So let's go, here, yeah. So now, this is specifically for the drums. So this is if you want to bring drums in and out. If you do that, you can turn the time control on too. We'll do it at 1 bar, but you have all sorts of different ones that you can do. We'll say menu. Let's see if it... So yeah, for some reason, the first time that I do this, okay, so it says, let's go back in here. Let's go to main. We're on the kit. Go to track mute. Click on track mute and double click it. Okay, now we're here. Now I need to do track mute again. And let's go here and let's say time division 1, close. Let's go to menu. Now let's see. Okay, so now it's quantized. So that's great for live performance. Oftentimes, if I'm doing a live performance, what I'll do is, I don't want this video to be too long, but you can just expand the drums out. So then it would all just be on the track mutes, which is great. So let's go here. This one right here. This one is, let's see, I think once it comes in, I think this is the sequence. Yeah, so now we go back to the second sequence. This is really great because in the past, what the clip functionality does, that's what I would do for my songs and create songs out of it. So it's gonna be cool to use this in more of the way that like I use, the way that I use my Octatrack, that I can have songs set up. Also because you have so many more synthesizers available and audio tracks available, I could do more songs in a row, maybe even without my Octatrack, which is sad to say. I hope not. Let's make sure my camera's still going. This has been going a long time. Okay, I'm trying to wrap this up soon. But yeah, there's a lot to learn here. So this is the second one. Let's see what this is. So this would be, let's see once it goes to the second. So yeah, I don't know what this is exactly. This might be the effects. Let's click on it and it should. So I think, okay, so there's Q-Link pad grid. Yeah, I think that this, actually I could put like momentary effects. Like my friend EasyBot, he made momentary effects on the Octatrack sequencer. I think that's similar to that. I think I'm just figuring that out right now. I'm gonna go home and do that. I'll try to do a video on that as well this week. So let's go here. This is cool. This is just, you can see the visual of what's going on with your beat at the moment. This right here has your track edit, which that's cool that you have that. You know, that's something that you dive into the computer to do, but I would say having all of these things, yeah, now we're back on the first track and we can see the steps. This actually, you know, I would always kind of roast the MPC Live 2 a little bit because it's called the Live, but it's actually pretty difficult to play live. And that was kind of frustrating to me. So this makes everything way more live. And we haven't even, we double click on the click matrix. We can just press, yeah, you click on the, you double click or you press shift click and it takes you to this clip matrix. And the cool thing about the clip matrix is that when it comes to the sequences and when you're doing things, it's very linear on the MPC. And if we go here to the menu, we have this song mode. And basically what you would do is you would insert your sequences and I would name them on there and then you turn it back into a sequence. So it involved a lot of turning sequences into sequences, naming them, which is cool. And there are pad mutes on it, which was great, but it was very in the screen. I'm really excited to mess around, double click more with this because we can name these each individual things. Also, if we go in here, we click on this arrangement button, but if we go here, you can duplicate it onto a clip within the matrix. So then you can go around and scroll and play while you're just doing this device. And as I was showing on here, let's go into double click. We have all these different functionality that I haven't really messed with. We have the amount of bars, which seems like you can change the amount of bars that you want. We can go here. That plays it, but I want to, let's press shift. Let's see, I actually want to, it says cannot edit arrange. Oh, that's the arrangement. Yeah, so let's stop. For some reason it has those stupid drums on there. So we can insert things, clear. Biggest thing I've noticed, you can take a snapshot, which is cool for like duplicating it later, delete, copy. The great thing is you have the settings. You can change the different color. If we go to pad notes, we could have the pads actually play the different things, you know? So you can have these things playing. So that would be great for you have different ideas. You want to play them back and see how they sound. You also have this button that says record into the arrangement, which probably does the same effect of what I was doing with creating sequences, you know? So this is where I'm at a week in with this thing. I'm gonna make way more videos. I really have appreciated the comments and how raw it is. This is a really raw video. My biggest advice is just sleep on this stuff. So yeah, this is where we're at now, and I know there's plenty more for me to learn. All right, well, thank you so much for checking out that video. Me just describing my thoughts of a weekend with this thing. It's a really amazing device, and thank you all so much for checking out these videos. It can take a lot of work to make these. I made basically a video every day when I first got this device, forced myself to take the weekend off. It can be a little bit difficult to get back into it, but here I am, and I thought this would be a great thing to do a video on. Again, one of the best pieces of advice is that if you're struggling with something with the device or you feel like you hit a wall, just sleep on it and dream on it. That's often what I do. Watch more videos to try to understand better so I can get into it. So yeah, like and subscribe if you appreciate the video. It takes a lot of work to do these things. I really do love doing it, and I love being out here outside, getting to make videos. But yeah, thank you all so much for checking this out. Click the link below, like and subscribe. Click the link below if you want to do a class with me on being more professional at making beats outside. Thank you all so much for your support.